Browns QB Shedeur Sanders lands jarring outlook from former NFL star. Shedeur Sanders is third on the Cleveland Browns quarterback depth chart, and he was not even active for the Browns' season-opening loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, chances are, we won't be seeing him this year. Of course, anything can happen. Injuries can occur, and maybe Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel both lay eggs. But many circumstances will likely need to unfold in order for Sanders to take the field in 2025. At least as a starter. More news. Giants make perfect sense for shocking Tyreek Hill trade. However, former NFL cornerback Asante Samuel believes otherwise and actually expects to see Sanders under center at some point mid-season, even if he thinks that Gabriel will get the first opportunity behind Flacco. If Dillon Gabriel doesn't seize the moment, they don't have any choice but to give Shedeur Sanders a chance, Samuel said on his podcast. I can see the Cleveland Browns giving Shedeur Sanders a chance by Week 8, Week 10, something like that, by my calculations. The Browns selected Sanders in the 5th round of the NFL Draft back in April, trading up to acquire him. Of course, Sanders was expected to be a first-round pick, but he slid all the way to day 3. In fact, Cleveland nabbed Gabriel 2 rounds before it landed Sanders. Perhaps there is a chance that Sanders gets some burn this season, but based on the way the Browns handled the Colorado Buffaloes product in preseason and how they've spoken about him throughout the process, it does not appear that Cleveland is eager to let him take the reins. At all. More news. Raiders RB Ashton Jeanty already raising red flags. It should also be noted that the Browns may very well take another quarterback in the first round of the draft next spring, so the entire argument surrounding Sanders in Cleveland could ultimately become a moot point when it's all said and done. The Browns will face the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday. For more on the Browns and NFL, head to Newsweek Sports. The Cleveland Browns thought they were making a bold, even history-defining move when they drafted Shedeur Sanders, son of the legendary Deion "Prime-Time" Sanders, to compete for the quarterback job. The name alone carries a kind of built-in electricity, a fusion of NFL tradition and college spectacle, the shadow of Deion's gold chains glimmering across generations. But in the unforgiving, rough-hewn world of the NFL, even the brightest prospects are constantly redefined by outside voices. This week, those voices grew louder when a former NFL star, himself no stranger to harsh scrutiny, delivered a jarring, brutally honest outlook on Shedeur Sanders' future. The commentary wasn't just another throwaway hot take. It felt like a message from a survivor of the league's merciless gauntlet, a cautionary tale disguised as advice, wrapped in a prediction that unsettled Browns fans across Ohio and beyond. The stage. Cleveland's eternal quarterback search. Cleveland has lived through more quarterback controversies than most franchises can stomach. Names line up like ghosts in a haunted corridor: Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield. Each was supposed to be the one, and each departure left fans aching for stability. When Shedeur Sanders entered the conversation, the city embraced him not just for his pedigree but for his poise. At Colorado, he had shown uncanny accuracy, sharp field vision, and a calmness that belied his age. Deion, standing by his side as coach and father, elevated his confidence with unrelenting bravado. To Browns fans, Shedeur seemed different, more polished than Manziel, more grounded than Mayfield, and more technically sound than the stopgap veterans who came and went. But the NFL does not hand out free passes for college success, and it doesn't bow to family legacies. That's where the voice of the former NFL star cuts in like a blade. The jarring outlook. The ex-NFL veteran, who carved out over a decade in the league as a quarterback, didn't mince words. In an interview that spread like wildfire across sports talk shows and podcasts, he said, "Shedeur Sanders has the tools. No doubt. But he's walking into one of the hardest situations in football. Playing quarterback in Cleveland isn't like playing anywhere else. The fans have zero patience, the media thrives on drama, and the franchise history weighs on you every Sunday. If he doesn't deliver early, he risks getting chewed up and spit out just like the rest." He paused before delivering the line that ignited headlines. "I don't think Shedeur will survive in Cleveland unless he reinvents himself. And reinvention is the hardest thing for a young QB with that much spotlight." The remark carried weight because it wasn't dismissive of Sanders' skills, it was a reality check about the environment. The star wasn't doubting Shedeur's arm or his leadership. He was doubting Cleveland, doubting the crucible, doubting whether Sanders' charisma could withstand the constant fire. The weight of legacy. To understand why this hit so hard, you have to see Shedeur's journey in context. From the moment he was old enough to toss a football, he wasn't just Shedeur, he was Deion's son. Every move was judged in the light of prime time's brilliance. At Jackson State, he brought wins and headlines, proving he wasn't just riding the Sanders name. At Colorado, he shouldered the media circus that followed Coach Prime into the Pac-12 spotlight, throwing touchdowns while millions debated his every step on Twitter. But the NFL is different. Here, last names mean less than win-loss columns. The locker room doesn't care who your father is. They care whether you can deliver in the fourth quarter, down by 3, with Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons breathing down your neck. The former NFL star's comments struck a nerve because they peeled back the glamour and reminded everyone of the brutality. Legacy can only shield you for so long. Browns fans react. The reaction across Cleveland was immediate and polarizing. On one side were the diehards who bristled at the suggestion. Shedeur's built different, they argued. He's not some rookie who's gonna fold. He's got the Sanders DNA, the work ethic, the showmanship. He'll thrive where others collapsed. On the other side were the scarred veterans of heartbreak. These fans have lived through too many quarterback experiments to indulge in blind optimism. They nodded grimly at the ex-NFL star's words. To them, it wasn't negativity, it was wisdom. They feared Sanders might be too polished, too hyped, too tied to a narrative the city couldn't possibly fulfill. Sports talk radio in Cleveland became a war zone. Morning hosts dissected the quote line by line. Was it fair? Was it harsh? Was it true? Inside the Browns' locker room. Privately, the Browns organization tried to shield Shedeur from the noise. Head coach Kevin Stefanski praised his rookie quarterback in public, emphasizing his steady improvement in practice. Teammates described him as approachable, focused, and surprisingly resilient for someone under such intense scrutiny. Still, whispers began to circulate. Some veterans wondered if Shedeur's constant media spotlight might be a distraction. Others questioned whether the pressure of being Deion's son, and the expectations that came with it, might eventually weigh him down. The jarring outlook from the former NFL star gave voice to those quiet concerns. The former star's own story. Why did this outlook carry such gravity? Because it came from someone who had lived it.